Alright, what's up, gangsters? New Capenna Magic new set is coming soon, honestly. And as soon as you know it, by the end of the month, it'll be here. Based around the 5 kind of gangster crime groups of New Capenna. And they're all allied shards. I haven't seen a shard set in a while, obviously. I think since Shards of Alar, maybe? I'm not sure, actually. But the Brokos, the Obscura, the Maestros, Riveteers, and the Cabaretti are here. And they are ready to show you a bunch of new cards. So it's freaking, we'll just jump right in. My mouse will be off the screen here. Thanks so much. Appreciate that. And first up is our Bant Shard. I know we're gonna be referring to him as Bant and Grixis and stuff until we get used to the new names. And Disciplined Duelist, we're gonna show you one card of each mechanic and then one of the guild leader and some Planeswalkers and stuff at the end as well. So the mechanic for the Bant Shard is shield counters. This is a 2/1 double strike for Bant, human citizen. ETBs with a shield counter on it. If it will be destroyed or dealt damage, remove a shield counter from it instead. So pretty cool, kind of like a preemptive regen shield, which is awesome, honestly. So that first time you go to kill it, it lives, which is awesome. Very cool mechanic. Obviously, you can throw ways around it as far as exiling and minus X, and so on and so forth. But cool, simple, evocative. Regen has some pretty awkward rules baggage, so it's cool. I like it a lot. And we see here on the leader of the Bant group, I'm sorry I keep calling it Bant, is Falco Spara Pact Weaver. This is a Bant 4-mana 3/3 flying trample. ETB is a shield counter on it, so it protects itself, which is pretty cool. You look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast spells from the top of your library by removing a counter from a creature you control, in addition to paying their other costs. So really cool card here. So it's a 3/3 flyer for 4 with a shield on it. And then if you're playing a deck full of +1/+1 counters, all kinds of counters, you can keep removing those counters to play cards off the top of the deck, which is pretty awesome. So kind of a Future Sight-esque effect, good body. It's a cool one. I like it. I like it. Up next is the Esper Shard. We have Ledger Shredder, 2 mana for a 1/3 flyer. Stormcrow, eat your heart out, and it's got flying. Whenever a player casts their second spell each turn, this card connives. What does connive mean? Connive is the mechanic for the Esper Shard. It is draw a card, and then discard a card. If you discarded a non-land card this way, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Kind of a weird ability, because frankly, looting is most often useful when you're discarding a land. So a way to kind of filter your draws in the later game, unless you're putting cards in the graveyard that are valuable in some way. So I feel like the connive ability is going to be very, very tied to decks that actively want to get cards in the graveyard, because discarding a spell just to put a counter on something is a little rough. So we'll see. Kind of a cool ability, but a little more limited in scope. Ledger Shredder. So we'll see. Up next is Rafine Scheming Seer. This is the Lord of the Demon Lord of the Esper clan, and it is a Esper mana for a 1/4 flying ward 1. Pretty good body, and a little bit of protection there is nice. Whenever you attack, target attacking creature connives X, where X is the number of attacking creatures, and once again, connive is to draw X, then discard X, and put a +1/+1 counter on that creature for each non-land card discarded this way. So this card, of course, can grow itself, which means it can connive more, can burn through your deck, put more cards in the graveyard. Pretty cool. Again, though, definitely wants to be in a deck that is going to be discarding cards for value in one way or another. So a little bit limited in scope, but pretty powerful card. Up next is Grixis. Grixis is Maestros, remember that one. And we have a little chat, just a little chat. This is 2 mana for an instant. It has the ability Casualty 1. As you cast this spell, you may sacrifice a creature of power 1 or greater. When you do, copy this spell. And the spell does look at the top 2 cards of your library, but 1 in your hand and 1 on the bottom. So what we have here is basically just Deadly Dispute 2.0. You don't get the mana back, but you get a little bit of card selection. You can sacrifice a 1/1 or anything else if you would like, obviously, and draw 2 cards effectively. So pretty good card, although there is less sacrifice fodder in blue than in black. This is still a pretty powerful effect. So is it better than Deadly Dispute? I don't think so, because Dispute is so self-perpetuating. You can make a treasure, then sack the treasure to the next Dispute. But still a pretty good card. A card to keep an eye on for sure. Our Maestros Lord here is Lord Xander the Collector, which is a 7-mana Grixis creature. Legendary Vampire Demon Noble. It's a 6/6 with 3 Thanos-esque abilities. When Lord Xander ETBs, target opponent discards half the cards in their hand rounded down. When it attacks, defending player mills half their library rounded down. And when it dies, target opponent sacrifices half the non-land permanents they control, rounded down. Feels much more like a commander card to me than a serious competitive card. At 7 mana, it's just too much, and you're not really getting enough from the abilities, whereas in commander, obviously, you can kind of have a little more time to cast it, choose your opponents, make some enemies, and so on and so forth. So kind of a cute card, but 7 mana is a lot. 7 mana is a lot. Moving on to our Jund shard here, and the Jund mechanic is Blitz. Blitz is an ability that allows you to cast a spell for the Blitz cost. It gets haste, it dies at the end of turn, when it dies, draw a card, and at the end of turn you sacrifice it. So kind of like a sneak attack sort of effect, but you get the card back, which is important. So, you know, we've seen this before in some kind of dashy effects, but not getting the card back is not really good. So we have a 2/3 for 4 here. Legendary Human Warrior. 1 red, tap, discard a card. Make a token that's a copy of another target creature you control. It gains haste. When the creature dies, draw a card. Sacrifice being your next end step. Acted only as a sorcery. So, somewhat similar to Fable of the Mirrorbreaker's backside. However, it requires you to discard a card as part of the cost. That's kind of a big cost in and of itself, obviously. Then you make a token. It gains haste. Obviously, you can get some value there, which is pretty cool. You do get your card back when the creature dies, which is nice, to be totally fair. But as a 4-drop, this card is relatively unexciting, much worse than Fable of the Mirrorbreaker. As a Blitz card, however, it's pretty cool. So you can play it, you can Blitz it. Still requires you to discard a card and pay another red. This card does seem pretty cool, but it's unfortunate for it that it's going to exist in the same format as Fable of the Mirrorbreaker, because Fable of the Mirrorbreaker just seems much, much better overall. Our Jund demon crime lord leader here is Zyorda the Incinerator, which is a 6 mana flying legendary demon dragon 6/6. Beginning of your end step, may sacrifice another creature. When you do, it deals damage equal to the creature's power to any target, and you make 3 treasure tokens. So, pretty sweet ability, honestly. It comes into play, you stack your 3/3, kill their 3/3, get some treasures also, which is kind of nice. It is a little expensive, you know, not quite Corvold, here, a little more powerful than Corvold, but pretty powerful card reasonably. Standard play, I mean, maybe 6 is a lot more than 5, but it's still kind of a cool card. Definitely an absolute bomb in limited, that's for sure. And our last shard here is Naya. And Naya is kind of like the creatures working together shard. We have Devilish Valet, which is honestly going to be, I think, a real card in a lot of formats. 3 mana for a 1/3 trample haste. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, double this card's power until end of turn. So, if I cast a Lingering Souls and make 2 tokens, this will be a 2/3 and then a 4/3. And you obviously know, you can tell it'll quickly scale up after that. It also has trample and haste. So if you can recurve this with multiple other creatures, or you can play this and then have a token maker, or whatever it is, you know, this is exponential. 1 to 2 to 4 to 8 to 16. Goes up pretty fast, and trample's pretty cool too. I can definitely see this card being part of a number of different combos. Pretty cool card. Kind of weird art, but pretty cool art. And then we have our Naya Demon Crime Lord, Jetmar Nexus of Rebels. 4 mana Naya card. It's a 5/4 for 4, which is already pretty solid. And as long as you control more creatures, it gets more abilities. At 3 creatures you control, plus MSO and Vigilance. At 6 creatures, plus MSO and Trample. And then at 9 creatures, plus MSO and Double Strike. So, kind of like an overrun built in on an already good body. The fact that the body here is pretty durable is pretty great. It's a 5/4, doesn't have a Vanishing Verse. Not very hard to have 3 or more creatures, and then 6 or more is also reasonable. At 6 or more, you're getting +2, +0, and Trample, which is absolutely huge. This card's solid. This card's super solid. Could definitely see constructed play. I like this one a lot. Moving on to Urbrask. Phyrexians, if you're not following the story stuff, Phyrexians apparently tried to invade New Capenna and failed. That's right, they failed, which is somewhat surprising. And Urbrask is back almost as a good guy here. Urbrask, once again, is a 5 mana 4/4 haste. Beginning of your upkeep, exile top card of your library. May play it this turn, which is great. Beginning of each opponent's upkeep, the next time they would draw a card this turn, instead they exile the top card of your library, they may play it this turn. That's pretty good as well. So if it forces them to play the card they draw every turn, of course, decks that are not so impulsive, control decks, mid-range decks, maybe it's a counter spell, they don't want to cast it. Maybe it's a reactive card they don't want to cast. So a 4/4 haste for 5 that draws you a card every turn is pretty sweet, and a little bit of mucking up your opponent's stuff as well. Will this be good enough in a world of Goldspan Dragon? It's a tough competition, but it is a powerful card with a pretty powerful effect, and it looks pretty cool. as well. Some more non-guild affiliated cards here. Wiretapping, 5 mana for an enchantment. Hideaway as a mechanic returns. Hideaway means to look at the top X cards, hide them, or pick one of them, hide it away face down, and then maybe some effect will flip it up later. And this one has Hideaway 5. So look at top 5 cards, keep one face down. Whenever you draw your first card during each of your draw steps, draw a card. So you get to draw 2 extra cards turn, which is kind of nice. And then if you have 9 or more cards in hand, you may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost. This card feels too clunky to me. Obviously, the ability to play a card for free is super cool, but a 5 mana Personal Howling Mine just isn't really good enough. So kind of a cool card, kind of a fun card, but not too exciting overall. Then we have Halo Fountain. 3 mana artifact. Pay 1, untap a tap creature you control. Make a 1/1 green creature token. Pay 2, untap 2 tap creatures you control. Draw a card. Pay 5, white mana, of course. Untap 15 creatures you control. You win the game. Kind of a weird card. 3 mana is a lot to pay up front. Having to untap creatures is awkward because you need to tap them first. Kind of reminiscent of the Shadowborn mechanic of untapping things. And I don't know if the payoff here is good enough for so many white pips. You know, you say you pay 3 for this, you end up pay 2, you untap 2 things and draw a card. That's a lot of hoops to get through just to draw 1 card. So overall, not too impressive this one. We get Gallic Readers, 2 mana for a 1/1. Has the Alliance ability. Whenever the creature you control is battle under your control, choose one that has been chosen this turn. +1/+1 counter, make a tap treasure token, or gain 2 life. Kind of cool. So play this on turn 2. Next turn, you play a creature, and it grows up, which is kind of cool. Makes treasures, which is kind of cool. Gains life. It's an elf also. Important to note, though, it's templated in a very cool way where you can't keep abusing it. The treasure also comes in tapped, so you can't keep using it to cast more spells, which makes sense. Kind of a cool 2-drop, kind of a cool elf card. Definitely like the Alliance ability. It's simple, it's flavorful, pretty cool. New Planeswalkers! Elspeth returns, back from being resurrected on Theros. Elspeth Resplendent apparently visits her home plane. We didn't know that. That's kind of cool. We have a 5 mana walker with 5 loyalty, so pretty chunky. +1, choose a creature, put a +1/+1 counter on an... Sorry, +1/+1 counter, and a flying first strike, lifelink, or vigilance counter on it. So pretty good, but 5 mana is a lot to buff up 1 creature. -3 is look at top 7 cards of your library. May put a permanent card, mana value 3 or less, among them on the battlefield with a shield counter on it, but the rest of the bottom in a random order. So a half of a collected company, but it is for permanence, and gives you a shield. Still a little iffy because you play it and you get your 3 mana thing for 5 mana. It's shielded, but now you have a Planeswalker that's pretty vulnerable. I don't love that ability. And then the -7 is make 5 3/3 angels. That's obviously pretty good, but we can't really judge Planeswalkers on their ultimates. So overall, I must say I'm a little unimpressed here. Not really adding enough to the board, I don't think, for 5 mana, and then not being durable enough on the minus. For 5 mana walker, this doesn't impress me too much. Not super excited about this one. Then we have Obnixos here. Look at that freaking getup. Look at that getup. That's a sweet suit. A 9mm and a 3-piece suit. Main set, borderless hero, deco, etc. I don't care much about the art styles. What I care about is a 3 mana planeswalker that has the ability to put a lot of loyalty in play pretty quickly. 3 mana for a planeswalker. This planeswalker has casualty. So when you cast this, you can sacrifice any creature you want, and you'll get a copy of Obnixos. It's not legendary. That has loyalty of the power of the creature you sacrifice. So if you have a Skyclave Shade in play, it'll be a 3 loyalty planeswalker. If you have a Goblin Token in play, it's a 1 loyalty planeswalker. We're seeing double planeswalkers here for 3 mana in the colors that love sacrifice creatures. That's pretty powerful. So +1, each opponent loses 2 life. Let's say discard a card. If you just control a demon or devil, you gain 2 life. So not a great plus ability. It's okay. -2 make a devil, which is awesome. Because the devil tokens are one if they die, deal the ping. And then -7, draw 7 cards with 7 life. The abilities here aren't that powerful, but considering the fact that we have a possible 3 mana planeswalker that can make another planeswalker, that's a lot of pings. A lot of 2 life if you don't discard cards, a lot of devil tokens, and then of course the threat of moving up to the ultimate and not winning the game on the spot, but being very, very good as a Gristlebrand activation goes. That's pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet. Kind of a cool card. That's it. That's all I got today. So we got some new Planeswalkers. We got a cool new theme. We got a lot of cool multicolored cards. Check out my article on CoolStuffInc.com tomorrow about all the charms. We're going over those as well. And I've been really enjoying this kind of flavorful, new look kind of thing. We had some weird, Neon Dynasty kind of steampunk stuff going on, and now you got this cool gangster world. So going new places looks really cool. Look for my 10 new brews, look for my set review, look for Bronson Mythic, follow the stream, or follow me on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, hit all the buttons, and I'll see you more for more New Capenna stuff. I'm excited. Hopefully you are too. See you soon, folks. Preview card tomorrow also.